In this video, she was kicked out while pregnant. 15 years later, she returned and froze at what she saw. Subscribe to the channel. Let's start the video.
Mina was only 19 when her life took a sudden turn. She had always been a quiet and gentle girl, living with her parents in a small town where everyone knew each other. Her days were simple, filled with school, helping her mother with household chores, and occasionally meeting friends at the park. She had never thought much about the future, except for dreams of one day having a home of her own and perhaps a family of her own. But one evening everything changed. Her parents discovered that Mina was pregnant. Their anger was immediate and sharp. They could not understand how a young girl like Mina had gotten herself into such a situation. In their eyes, she had made a mistake that could not be forgiven. They shouted at her, telling her that she had brought shame to the family. Mina tried to explain, but no words could calm their fury. Finally, they said words that cut her heart like a knife. They told her she had to leave the house. Mina stood frozen in the doorway, clutching the small bag she had packed in a hurry. Her stomach sank as she realized that the people she had loved the most were asking her to leave at the very moment she needed them the most. She had no money, no job, and no one to turn to. The streets that she had walked so many times now seemed unfamiliar and cold. Mina wandered through the town, feeling lost and afraid. The streets were quiet in the late evening, and the lights from the shops barely touched the shadows where she walked. People looked at her with pity, and some whispered behind her back. She felt eyes on her everywhere. Noticing the growing belly, she tried to hide with loose clothes. Every step she took felt heavier than the last. She knew she had to find a place to stay, but the thought of spending the night alone in the streets terrified her. After hours of searching, she found a small, run-down boarding house at the edge of town. The room was tiny and damp, with a thin bed and a cracked window. It smelled faintly of old wood and dust, but it was safe. Mina sat on the edge of the bed, holding her small bag and her growing belly. Tears ran down her face as she thought of her parents. She missed the warmth of her old home, the smell of her mother's cooking, and even her father's scolding voice. But most of all, she felt a deep sadness that no one had prepared her for this kind of loneliness. Determined to survive, Mina found work at a nearby bakery. She woke up before sunrise each day to help bake bread and pastries, standing for hours on her tired feet. Customers were kind to her, but some were curious and asked questions she did not want to answer. She smiled politely and worked quickly, keeping her secret close. Each night, she returned to her small room with aching muscles and a heavy heart. She would feed herself simple meals and then lie down, holding her stomach and imagining the life that was growing inside her. Months passed slowly, and Mina's baby began to move within her. She felt a mixture of fear and joy. She knew she had to be strong, not just for herself, but for the child she carried. When the day finally came, Mina gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The moment she held her daughter in her arms, she felt a love stronger than anything she had ever known. She named her Lila. Mina promised herself that she would protect Lila no matter what and that she would give her a life full of love, even if it was different from the life she had dreamed of for herself. Life was not easy. Mina worked long hours and sometimes skipped meals so Lila could eat. She took care of her little girl with tenderness, bathing her, singing to her, and telling her stories before bedtime. She watched Lila grow, learning to walk, talk, and laugh. Every milestone brought happiness to Mina's heart, but also a quiet ache, because she wished she could share these moments with her parents. She wondered if they thought of her, or if they even remembered the little girl she had become. Despite the hardships, Mina never gave up. She learned to budget carefully, to cook simple meals, and to find joy in small things. A walk in the park, a new book from the library, or a quiet afternoon together became precious moments for her and Lila. Mina's love for her daughter gave her strength to face the world. Every day, she told herself that one day, when the time was right, she would return to her parents. She would show them that she had survived, that she had built a life, and that she had raised her daughter with love and dignity. She did not know how they would react, but she promised herself that she would be brave. As the years went by, Mina's determination grew. She learned to face challenges with courage, to smile even in hard times, and to protect the happiness of her daughter above all else. She kept her past close to her heart but never let it define her. Mina knew that life had given her a second chance, and she was determined to make it meaningful. 15 years earlier, Mina had walked out of her family home with nothing but a small bag and a heart full of fear. Now, 15 years later, she had grown into a strong and independent woman. Those years had been filled with struggle, tears, and hard work, but they had also given her something beautiful. She had Lila, her bright and cheerful daughter, who had grown into a smart, kind, and curious young girl. Mina had built a life that she could be proud of. She had moved into a slightly larger apartment with better lighting and space for Lila to play. She worked at a local bakery that had grown into a popular cafe over the years. People in the town knew her as the kind, hard-working woman who always had a smile for everyone. But even as she smiled, Mina carried a quiet memory of her past. She remembered the hurt of being kicked out and the long nights she had spent wondering if she would ever see her parents again. Despite her fear of rejection, Mina had always thought about returning. She wanted her daughter to know her grandparents, to have the love of the family she had lost. But she also wanted to return as someone strong, confident, and independent. She wanted to show that being forced out had not broken her, but had made her stronger. For years, the thought of this reunion had been like a distant dream, something she told herself would happen someday. Lila often asked questions about her grandmother and grandfather. "Why don't we visit them?" she asked one evening while Mina prepared dinner. Lila's eyes were bright with curiosity, and she did not understand why her mother had never gone back. Mina paused, holding the wooden spoon over the pot. She smiled softly and said, "One day we will. But first I want to make sure that when we go, we are ready and strong." Lila nodded, trusting her mother's words without fully understanding them. The years passed quickly. Lila grew into a beautiful, polite, and thoughtful girl. She loved to read, draw, and explore the small town parks. Mina watched her grow with pride. She had worked hard to give Lila a happy and safe childhood, something she herself had missed when she was young. Mina had saved money, learned new skills, and even started teaching baking classes at the cafe. She had friends who supported her, people who admired her strength and kindness. One morning, as Mina cleaned the cafe before opening, a letter arrived. It was from a law office in her old town. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it. The letter explained that her parents had asked about her, wanting to reconnect after so many years. They had heard of her life, of how she had raised Lila with love and strength, and they wanted to see her. Mina felt a whirlwind of emotions. There was fear, hope, sadness, and excitement all mixed together. For the first time in years, she considered that the long-dreamed-of reunion might finally happen. Mina shared the news with Lila that evening. Lila's eyes sparkled with curiosity and excitement. "Can we go?" she asked eagerly. Mina nodded, feeling a mix of nervousness and anticipation. She began planning the visit carefully. She wanted everything to be perfect. She wanted her parents to see not a frightened young girl, but a grown woman who had overcome life's hardships. The journey back to her hometown brought back memories that Mina had tried to forget. She remembered the street where she had walked alone, carrying a heavy heart and a small bag. She remembered the look in her mother's eyes when she had been sent away, and the harsh words of her father that had driven her out. The old town seemed smaller now, but the memories felt larger and heavier than ever. As Mina and Lila approached the house where she had grown up, her heart beat faster. She held Lila's hand tightly, feeling both fear and hope. Mina knew that the next moments would change everything. She had dreamed of this reunion for years, imagining how her parents would react, imagining the emotions that would fill the air. But no matter what happened, she was ready. She was no longer the scared girl who had been kicked out. She was a mother, a strong woman, and she had raised a daughter she loved more than anything in the world. Standing in front of the old house, Mina took a deep breath. Lila looked up at her and smiled. Mina smiled back, feeling a strange mix of courage and fear. She knocked on the door. Moments later, the door opened, and Mina froze. The sight before her was more shocking than anything she had imagined. The house was different, the garden was different, and even the people she saw were not exactly as she remembered. Her parents were older, of course, and there was someone standing beside them whom Mina had never seen before. Her heart raced as she tried to understand what was happening. Mina realized that life had moved forward for everyone, not just for her. The reunion she had imagined for so long was no longer a simple meeting of the past. It was a meeting of lives that had grown in different directions, a confrontation with time, change, and the unexpected. She held Lila's hand tightly, ready to face the moment she had waited for all her life. Mina stood frozen at the doorway, her hand still on the handle. The sight before her was more confusing than she had expected. Her parents were there, older, their faces lined with age and worry, but something in their expressions made her heart race. They looked shocked, unsure, and perhaps a little afraid. Beside them stood a man Mina did not recognize. He was tall, gentle-looking, and his eyes held a calm warmth. Lila tugged gently at her mother's hand. "Mom, who is that?" she asked quietly. Mina looked down at her daughter and smiled nervously. "We will find out soon," she whispered. Then, gathering all her courage, she stepped forward and greeted her parents. "Mom." "Dad," Mina said, her voice shaking slightly. Her parents froze for a moment, then tears welled up in their eyes. Her mother stepped forward first and hugged Mina tightly. The hug was long, full of unspoken words and years of regret. Mina felt a mixture of relief and pain as she hugged the woman who had once pushed her away. I am sorry, Mina," her mother said, her voice trembling. "We were wrong. We did not understand. We have thought about you every day, and we missed you more than we can say." Mina felt tears run down her cheeks. She had imagined this moment countless times, but the reality was overwhelming. She had waited for 15 years for a simple apology, and now it was here. "I forgive you," Mina said softly. "I have been okay, but I missed you too." Her father stepped forward then, his eyes wet with emotion. "Mina, I cannot tell you how sorry I am," he said. "We were harsh. We let anger guide us, and we hurt you. We see now how strong you have become, and we are proud of you." Mina looked at him, and for a moment, all the old pain returned. But she also saw a man who had aged, learned, and wanted to make amends. She nodded slowly, letting him know that she had forgiven him as well. Then her mother turned to Lila. "And who is this sweet little girl?" she asked, her voice gentle and full of curiosity. Lila stepped forward, holding her mother's hand tightly. "I am Lila," she said shyly. "I am Mina's daughter." Her parents looked at Lila with surprise and delight. "She looks just like you, Mina," her mother said, smiling. Lila blushed but smiled back. Mina squeezed her daughter's hand. She had hoped for this moment for years. Her daughter was meeting her grandparents for the first time, and it was as if time had brought them together at the perfect moment. Then Mina noticed the man standing beside her parents. "Who is this?" she asked. Her mother smiled warmly. "This is Samuel," she said. "He has helped us with the house and has been like a guide for us in recent years. We wanted you to meet him." Mina nodded politely, noticing the calm presence Samuel brought to the room. He smiled and extended a hand. "It is an honor to meet you, Mina," he said softly. Mina shook his hand, feeling the weight of the years fall slightly from her shoulders. She realized that life had moved on for everyone, and yet, in this moment, it had made space for forgiveness and understanding. She took a deep breath and stepped fully into the house. Lila followed her, looking around curiously. The house had changed in small ways. The walls were freshly painted, and the garden was filled with blooming flowers. But there were still memories everywhere. Memories of her childhood, memories of laughter, and memories of pain. Mina walked slowly through the rooms, taking it all in. She felt strange emotions. Part of her wanted to rush and relive the past, and part of her wanted to sit quietly and let the present speak for itself. Her mother invited them to sit in the living room. Mina sat down with Lila beside her, while her parents exchanged glances. The air was filled with both tension and hope. For a long time no one spoke. Then her mother began sharing stories of their lives during the years Mina had been away. She spoke of regret, of loneliness, and of learning to value family above pride. Mina listened quietly, feeling a mixture of sadness and relief. Her father joined in, telling stories of the town and how he had often thought about Mina and Lila. He admitted that he had changed, and that he wished he could have been a better father and grandfather. Mina felt her heart lighten. The walls of anger and fear that she had built for so many years were slowly coming down. Lila listened closely, asking gentle questions. She wanted to know everything about her grandparents, about the life they had before and after her mother had left. Her parents answered with honesty and warmth. Mina watched her daughter and felt a proud smile spread across her face. Lila was learning that families could grow again, even after years of separation. By the end of the afternoon, the house was filled with quiet laughter. Mina saw that her parents were genuinely trying to make amends, and she realized that returning had been the right choice. She had faced her fears, and now she could see the possibility of love and connection again. As the sun began to set, Mina stood by the window with Lila at her side. She felt a sense of peace she had not felt in years. She knew that the road ahead would not always be easy, but she also knew that forgiveness and love had made it possible for her to step into a new chapter of life. Lila hugged her mother tightly. Mina hugged her back, feeling grateful for the courage that had brought them here. In that moment, Mina understood that life had a way of returning what it had taken, sometimes in ways she had never imagined. She had faced the past, embraced the present, and opened a door to the future. For herself, for Lila, and for her parents. The next morning, Mina woke up early. The sunlight streamed through the windows, casting warm light across the living room. She felt a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness. The previous day had been emotional, filled with apologies, tears, and laughter. Now, Mina wanted to explore more, to understand how her parents had lived all these years, and to see if her return could truly bring them together as a family again. Lila was already awake, sitting at the small table in the kitchen. She was drawing pictures of the house, her mother, and her grandparents. Mina smiled at her daughter. "Good morning, Lila," she said softly. Lila looked up and grinned. "Good morning, Mom. Look, I drew everyone in the living room yesterday." Mina looked at the colorful drawings and felt a wave of pride. Her daughter had a gift for seeing happiness even in new and strange situations. Her parents joined them for breakfast. The air was calm and warm. Mina noticed the careful way her mother prepared the meal, the gentle way her father poured the tea, and she felt a mixture of relief and happiness. It was a small moment, but it showed her that her parents wanted to make things right. After breakfast, her mother said softly, "Mina, there is something I want to show you." She led Mina to a small room at the back of the house. Mina noticed immediately that the room had been prepared with care. There were old photographs on the walls, small gifts neatly placed on the shelves, and a warm light filling the space. "This room was always empty," her mother explained. "We never touched it after you left. But Samuel suggested we make it ready for you and Lila, in case you ever came back. We wanted you to have a place here if you want it." Mina froze for a moment, unable to speak. The gesture touched her deeply. It showed that her parents had thought about her for all these years, even when they had not reached out directly. Lila ran around the room, examining every detail. "Mom, this is amazing. Look, they even put flowers," she exclaimed. Mina hugged her daughter and felt a deep sense of gratitude. She realized that returning had not only brought her face to face with her past but also opened doors for love and connection she had never expected. Then her father spoke quietly. "Mina, there is something else I need to tell you. Something about your younger brother, Daniel." Mina's heart skipped a beat. She had not heard about Daniel in years. He had been a baby when she had left, and she had always wondered what had happened to him. Her mother nodded. "Daniel is now 15, the same age as Lila. He has grown up kind and strong. He has always wanted to meet you. We thought the time was right now, after seeing how you have built a life for yourself." Mina felt a rush of emotions. A brother she had never met, a part of her family she had not known. This was unexpected. She took a deep breath and nodded slowly. "I want to meet him," she said softly. Samuel, who had been quietly observing, smiled. "He is in the garden," he said. Mina and Lila walked outside, the morning air fresh and bright. And there he was. Daniel was a tall boy with dark hair and kind eyes. He froze when he saw Mina. For a moment neither spoke. Then Daniel stepped forward and said, I am Daniel. I've wanted to meet you for a long time. Mina knelt down and hugged him gently. I've wanted to meet you too, she whispered. Lila joined them, holding Daniel's hand. For a few minutes, the three of them stood there in silence, feeling the joy and weight of a family that had been separated by time and circumstances. As the day went on, Mina learned more about her parents' life during the years she had been gone. They had faced their own struggles, made mistakes, and grown older. But what touched her most was their honesty and willingness to accept her life as it had become. She realized that the home she had once lost had grown into a place of forgiveness and acceptance, ready to embrace her again. The afternoon brought more surprises. Mina discovered that Samuel had not only helped her parents with the house but had also started a small library in the town for children. Lila's eyes lit up when she heard this. Mom, we can go there. I want to see all the books. Mina smiled and agreed. The three of them, Mina, Lila, and Daniel, spent the afternoon reading, laughing, and exploring the small town that had once been both frightening and familiar to Mina. By evening, Mina felt a deep sense of peace. She had returned not as the frightened girl who had been kicked out, but as a strong woman, a loving mother, and now a sister reconnecting with her family. She looked around the house at her parents, at Daniel, at Lila, and she realized that the past, though painful, had led her to this moment of healing. As the sun set, Mina sat on the porch with Lila and Daniel by her side. Her parents joined them, and for the first time in 15 years, the family felt whole. Mina knew that challenges would still come, that they would need time to rebuild trust and understanding. But she also knew that love and forgiveness had opened a door she had once thought closed forever. Mina held Lila's hand and smiled. Life had given her a second chance, not just with her parents, but with the entire family. She had returned to face her past, and in doing so, she had discovered a future filled with hope, connection, and unexpected joy. The days that followed Mina's return were filled with discovery, laughter, and gentle moments of reconnection. Every morning, she woke to the sunlight spilling across the living room, with Lila and Daniel already talking excitedly about their plans for the day. It was a quiet, happy chaos, and Mina felt a warmth in her heart that she had not known in 15 years. Her parents were careful not to overwhelm her. They shared their stories and memories, but also listened intently to Mina's life experiences. She spoke about the years she had worked at the bakery, the night she had spent comforting Lila when she was scared, and the small victories that had made her feel proud. Her mother nodded, tears in her eyes, while her father's hand rested gently on hers. The family was learning to understand each other, and trust was slowly returning. One afternoon, Mina suggested a walk through the old part of town. Lila held her hand tightly, and Daniel walked beside them, chatting about school and books he loved. The streets brought back memories for Mina. She remembered the day she had walked out with her small bag, unsure of the world, feeling rejected and alone. Now, as she walked through the same streets with her daughter and brother, she felt strength and hope. The town no longer seemed cold. It felt like a place where life had changed, but also where it could grow again. They stopped by the old bakery, the place where Mina had first worked as a young woman. The owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Noor, recognized Mina instantly. "Mina, I cannot believe it is you," she said, hugging her tightly. Mina smiled, feeling a wave of nostalgia. Mrs. Noor had been like family to her during her early days, offering guidance, advice, and sometimes even food when money was tight. Lila and Daniel listened with fascination as Mina shared stories of the long hours she had spent learning to bake bread, the tips she had picked up, and the dreams she had held for the future. That evening, back at the house, the family sat around the dinner table. The room was filled with conversation, laughter, and stories. Daniel shared a funny incident from school, and Lila demonstrated a drawing she had made of the house and garden. Mina listened, smiling and feeling an overwhelming sense of joy. She realized that this moment, this ordinary evening filled with love and laughter, was more precious than anything she had imagined. Later, Mina spoke with her parents privately. "Thank you for welcoming us back," she said softly. "I was scared to return, but now I see that it was the right choice. I am happy to be home, but I also see that life has moved forward for all of us. I am proud of the family we can become together." Her mother took her hands, her eyes shining. "Mina, We have made mistakes, and we will continue to learn. But having you here and Lila and now Daniel has given us hope. We will do everything we can to be the family you deserve." Mina nodded, feeling tears rise. She knew that healing was a journey, not a single moment, but she felt certain that they were on the right path. That night, as she tucked Lila into bed, she whispered, "Everything is going to be okay now. We are together." Lila smiled sleepily and hugged her tightly. "I love you, Mom," she murmured. Mina kissed her forehead, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Over the next weeks, the family grew closer. Mina and her parents began to work together to organize family dinners, small outings, and celebrations. Daniel and Lila became fast friends, sharing games, books, and stories. The house, once silent and lonely, was now alive with warmth, joy, and love. Mina realized that the past, though painful, had shaped her into the person she was, a strong, caring, and resilient woman. One evening, Mina and her parents sat in the garden, watching the sunset paint the sky with golden hues. Samuel had joined them, offering gentle advice and quiet support. Mina looked at the faces around her, at the laughter and the calm conversations, and felt a sense of peace she had never known. Life had given her another chance, not just to reunite with her parents, but to create a family filled with understanding, love, and respect. Mina knew that there would still be challenges ahead. There would be disagreements, moments of misunderstanding, and times when old memories might resurface. But she also knew that love, patience, and courage could overcome anything. She had faced rejection, fear, and hardship before, and she had survived. Now, with her parents, Lila, Daniel, and Samuel, she had built a life that was stronger and richer than she had ever imagined. As the sun disappeared below the horizon, Mina held Lila's hand and Daniel's hand, looking at her parents with gratitude and hope. She realized that life, with all its surprises, had returned to her what she had lost, and given her more than she had dared to dream. The home that had once been a place of pain had become a place of healing, connection, and new beginnings. Mina smiled, feeling a quiet strength inside her. She had returned after 15 years, faced the past, and discovered a future full of love. She knew that no matter what came next, she and her family could face it together. For the first time in a long time, Mina felt completely at peace. The long journey had ended not with sorrow, but with joy, forgiveness, and hope. The family sat together in the garden as the stars appeared in the night sky. Lila and Daniel laughed quietly, sharing stories and imagining adventures. Mina's parents held hands, smiling at the family that had reunited against the odds. Mina looked at them all and realized that life had given her a second chance, and she would cherish every moment. She was finally home, and this time nothing could take it away.